Morning, Steve.
Morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Morning.
How do we get rid of this other stuff? Just sort of go to full screen.
Yeah.
Okay, we are live.
Well, I'm not ready for live.
You look handsome.
Yeah, but I look small. I'm just kidding. I had trouble getting in this morning. I don't know why.
That's operator error.
Yeah, undoubtedly. It was a different setup, though. I was trying to walk down the same path, not so much.
Well, you got the boss behind you. She'll take care of you.
No, she got me this far, but I'm all jammed in a corner here.
Well, you got the boss behind you. She'll take care of you.
No, she got me this far, but I'm all jammed in a corner.
Up to view options.
What's the sound?
Okay, get ready. I'm getting.
No.
Up to view options.
Full screen.
Get ready.
I don't know what's going on here. Let's close this. Close this. I don't know that that's gonna work. We're still stuck here. You're just gonna have to.
All right.
I'm afraid.
I've just been told something I heard before from my wife. You're just going to have to live with it.
Ooh.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Every tiny little person that you are today. Okay. We should look at approve the minutes from.
February 16th.
February 16th, yes.
I move to approve.
I second that motion.
Motion by Wendy Naylor, seconded by Steve King. King,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Childs.
Yes.
Okay, minutes are approved. Motion by Wendy Naylor, seconded by Steve King. King.
Is somebody getting feedback?
Yeah, somebody's got feedback.
It's like you repeated,
Yeah,
Gary.
I know, I heard that.
Once
Oh,
is
okay.
okay. For submission 25 South Street, our siding issue.
I have no new information on this. Hopefully folks may had a chance to get down there and take a look at it.
I walked around it with them and very nice people. They bought an old house and really don't accept that to a great degree. There are some problems with the siding, some rot that I saw. I don't think we have a picture of the rot that I saw, which was on the southeast corner.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that up.
Yeah, I don't remember a picture of it, but it was there when I was viewing it. There's some peeling paint. The issue that bothers the owners primarily is the paint, the repainting and the seeing of previous paint jobs. And not the greatest job anyways. I feel the need to enlarge on this because it has there are several questions here. Historical significance is determined by Architectural Board of Review and nobody else. We get input from other sources, certainly prospectus, but we determine what is historically significant and what is not. I will say, and as I did in a letter a week or two ago, each dwelling or submission is an entity unto itself. No two are alike. It should be treated as such. They use that material as not an equalizer. Structures are different and unique. Their location is always different. The structures around them are always different. Unique is not an option, it's a fact. A combination of owner requests, structural necessity, location, and all manner of specific, unique facets into each decision that we make. This house has a hardy board on the addition of fairly recent endeavor. It's not the addition is not visible from the street in any way, shape, or form, which is probably why we went with hardy. Siding, wood siding usually is often an integral part of the feel or the historical significance in many cases of a house. It does play a role in this house, but not to the degree that it could in other houses. We have the issues as I understand them, and Phil, you should expound on this perhaps more than me, is insulation, paint peeling, paint that's not peeling, its appearance, a vapor barrier which would acquire. I stress that putting hardy board on a house doesn't mean you never paint it again. It's hardy board. It's not vinyl or aluminum siding. Phil, you visited and had a lengthy discussion with them before the rest of us did. You have input here.
I think I was clear that it would be better to just keep the old siding, but in the event, given the fact that they're willing and wish to spend quite a bit of money to basically make the siding that is on the rear match the rest, or the rest of the house match the siding that's on the rear, keep all the details, get a moisture and air barrier behind the new siding, do whatever they can to try to seal up the envelope from a thermal standpoint. It's their house, and the rear addition looks great. It's new, obviously, and the house will look consistent. And I don't think it's gonna, in the long run, gonna harm the value of this house. It will improve it for them, and so I think that we should let them do this. I'd rather have them do this than take it all off and put vinyl on, and they're willing to pay the extra money to make their house right for them.
I as well went and met with the homeowners last evening and got a tour of the situation, and not to drag out what we have going on here. I agree with what Steve and Phil are talking about. I prefer retention of historic materials consistent with the code. I do feel that this could be a very narrow exception where we allow replacement of materials. I always think, even though we look at things on a case-by-case basis, I worry about setting a precedent. In this case, I believe that the addition to the rear has hardy board siding on it. There is an inconsistency between the old siding and the new siding. Another situation here is Prospectus did determine in their report that this building, this house was not historic. So I feel that on appeal, that it is likely the BZA would not apply historic standards to this house. So in an effort to kind of expedite the whole situation, that the owners are very determined that this is their decision, I would approve the replacement with hardy board with a large attention to detail and hopefully some good professional advice on how to mimic the original materials.
I agree with Wendy, but how I think this should be done is that we should have them document this. And what I mean by that, you need to field measure the head, the sill, the jamb, all the details in the house. And then someone, an architect, should go back and draw the head, the jamb, the sill of all the windows, even if it's a unique condition, the cornice, every detail, and that should be presented to us, and that should we should follow up to make sure they did it correctly. Even the siding should have the correct butt, because there's the siding. Hardie has two types of siding, one which is a very thin butt, and then they have the one that's a heavier butt. So you should get the butts of the siding correct and all the details, and it needs to be documented and drawings submitted, is how I've seen this done in the past.
And I think that addresses, I mean, I think you're spot on in methodology. My only thought about this, and I do realize we don't want to be, fighting people not to do something that they're trying to do nicely on their house. And it's a tricky situation. It certainly doesn't. I mean, I think this house does have historic value, despite the historic report, which is really basic on more technical standards than those that we're looking at when we look at this town. But I guess I would almost appeal to the homeowners more, having worked with people so many times when they just buy a house. You come in and people come in hot. They come in and they want to change a lot. But if they live there a year before they do anything, they do 2/3 as much or half as much, because they start to be okay with a lot of the things that are there that, when you first come in, you're like, why is this here? I got to change it. And I think that settles down over time. And this is obviously big, expensive endeavor. I don't think it's going to increase the value of the house in any way. So I think it's kind of sunk money. I think it does detract from the historic value of it. I think there are areas with technical problems that could be addressed from the interior, or replacing a little area with wood that would, make it paint well. Wouldn't be an area that was peeling. But I would more just I'm just really speaking to the homeowner. If you wait a year, if you fix the technical problems, you may never notice that you can actually see that your house has been painted before. So that's all I have to say. It's more advice.
I have one more comment with respect to what George is saying. The issues that I saw where maintenance is required, where details have been changed, like with the gutters, specifically at the front entrance, that work should be attended to no matter what. And
Right.
The siding, replaced or not, becomes less. No, if you keep the siding, but you make the necessary repairs to the details that are deteriorated, and you do it in a respectful manner, it's much better. It's better money for your efforts. The gutters details around that front porch are just awful. They shouldn't.
Are creating problems.
They shouldn't have been returned. The gutters should have stopped at the edge of the roof, not come around to the front of it. And it lost details that it could gain back very quickly.
And remember that Hardie does not withstand the force of water. So if anywhere you have Hardie that is consistently wet from some obviously other technical problem with your house, that Hardie will deteriorate. I mean, so will wood, little rot, but Hardie will just disintegrate. So it's a pick six in terms of maintenance there. You got to fix the water problem always.
And just one comment, we don't use Hardie plank anymore. We've been using for years boral, and just have siding made out of boral, which doesn't move. It's rot and insect resistant, and usually holds paint about 25 years.
Mm-hmm. It's a great product. It's be more expensive, I believe, than Hardie, but it's a fantastic product, and it is not more expensive than new wood siding, I don't think.
Yeah, Steve, I don't know if in your visit, but the things that the architects are talking about were very much discussed on our visit. So I think the homeowner is well aware of our preference to retain that historic material and to address the gutter and which may be causing, and I do believe is causing a large amount of the gutter issues. I'm not a professional, but that's what it appeared when I visited. So are we ready for a motion on this?
I think we are.
Before we vote on it, I think the property owner is on. I don't know if he wants to speak or not.
Oh, okay.
Chris, do you have anything to say?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah, if you turn your audio on, we can see you too.
Just so I can figure that out.
There he is.
Does that work?
Yep.
No, just appreciate the various visits to the house, and you know, similar to a lot of what's been said as well is, you know, we very much appreciate the fine characteristics, the small details of the house. As I've talked with many of you, that's one of the reasons why we purchased a house, because it has a lot of those little bits and pieces that give it that charm, right? That's not something that we would be looking to remove.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
I would
We have a
entertain-
motion.
I move to approve plans as presented with submittal of finishing details related to the installation of hardy board, to include a window mock-up. And were there any other issues?
We should include like the frieze, the the fascia,
Corner detail.
corner detail, any other type of, I know that porch is he taken off? There's that one porch that has the columns and all that. Is that staying the way it is? Is that being replaced with hardy board or hardy plank? Because then all those details should be, somebody should draw that and figure that out.
Yeah, in our
document that.
visit, Chris can speak to this. He conveyed that was all going to be replaced too.
Yeah, so all those details really should be documented, filled, measured, and drawn, so you have a record set of that. And so it
So
gets
it's-
built like that.
Joan, do you have those details? So is Joan here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little under the weather, so I'm,
Oh, okay. Okay.
that's why I'm muted.
Okay. So motion to approve plans as presented with details to be submitted, including windows, porch details, frieze details. Is that it?
Gutter and top.
Corner
Gutter and soffit
and corner,
and corner details.
showing the mitered corner.
That's the motion.
And the material would be hardy board or its equivalent, and the trim would be boral or wood.
Is that what was submitted in the application hearing?
Hardy board.
Hardy board.
What
Okay.
about the trim though? Is it AZAC or Boral?
It was submitted as hardy trim, I believe. But that is somewhat problematic. I mean, if it's pre-painted, it's a nicer finish material, but then it's not going to be the right dimension. It only comes certain ways. You're not going to get the details so then once you rip it, it's no longer pre-painted. I mean, hardy trim is not, and I don't think hardy trim has, well, it's not tough enough for windowsills, and I don't know if they have a material or a shape that matches the shape of your existing subsills, exterior subsills, your windows.
I would think we'd want to say Boral or AZAC just because those are products that'll last and have a pretty good track record. And then you
Yes.
can get the dimensions and the details
Yep.
correct.
Agreed.
I second the motion.
Okay. Motion by Naylor, seconded by King with comments. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay, Chris, it has passed, and I'll see you when you come through for your permits.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate everyone's time and support on this one. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing that should be said that does not apply to this house is we were just talking replacing siding. with no addition out of Hardy, we'd be looking for wood. If it was truly a historical significant house, we'd be looking for wood.
We'll talk about that next meeting.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Is that coming?
Well, yeah, maintaining historical significance is very important. And this is a little in doubt on this house. 100 East Orange Street, the library.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Morning.
Matt.
Morning.
So not much really has changed. I'll just kind of go through the project again to refresh everybody's memory. The north facade of the library is over years, we've tried to paint it, remove the rotted wood. It just kind of keeps coming back. Largely due, there's a lot of moisture in that area. And then it does not get the sun like the rest of the building does. So we want to replace that in kind identically with the AZEC Paint Pro, so we can paint it to match the existing library standard. And they're going to be painting the rest of the wood trim as well. So we're going to have a match. I did approach the library about, your wishes about replacing as much as possible. It's just not really in the budget right now. Over time, they would like to. That's the plan.
What do you mean by replacing as much as possible? I don't remember.
Replacing where the wood trim with the AZEC, other than the north facade.
Well, visually,
On other parts of the building?
Yeah.
visually, it's not going to be distinguishable. So, I mean, I think that's really up to them and how they approach it over time. If it's not rotting now, I mean, keeping the older wood seems like a fine plan for the moment.
Yeah, that was just a comment that was made. I just wanted to address that. If the condition occurs, if they, see continual.
So what you're proposing is that you're going to replace in kind all of the details on this facade,
Correct.
including somehow having AZEC crown moldings and bed moldings
Yes.
custom made, because they don't have any of this stuff.
Well, it's not going to be custom made. I worked with Menor Lumber on this. They're the contractor, and they've identified each piece, what it's going to be.
Then I think we need to see it, because you're not going to match it. What you're showing is what's existing and saying we're going to match it. You're not going to match it. It's not even going to be close. And, I remember when Holtzheimer designed this, and thought it was way overdone, but in order to match it, I don't think you can do it in AZEC. I think you're going to need to do it in boral trim that's custom made, or come up with some details that we can see sections through those pilasters and through the cornice, and I don't think the sills are all that important, because it looks like it's original.
Yeah, the windows were not going to be part of this, or the doors, just any trim surrounding it.
I agree with Phil's comment. They should have shown us details like of all the moldings, because if you just say, oh, it's close, what happens is if they're only replacing certain parts of it, let's just say there's the tenure and they only do so much of the tenure. When the new tenure, which maybe be off a 16th or an 8th, runs into the new tenure, how do you make that transition for one?
Well, they're good. They're taking it all down.
Okay.
So it will be all new.
Because I thought you were just replacing certain parts or pieces, not the whole thing.
No, the entire.
The whole thing's coming down there and all brand new.
This facade is all new, right?
Pardon?
This north facade is complete replacement.
Yes, that's correct.
Man, such an opportunity to just tear it all off and return it to the 1950s design it was. Save them a whole bunch of money. I have one other issue. Around the corner, when they did this, on the northeast entrance,
Mhm.
the columns that they installed were too long, and the base of the columns, and they used wood columns, and the bases of the columns have collapsed and they're rotting away. They didn't cut the columns and put it up on pedestals to allow the wood to breathe, and it's failing. Maybe not completely yet, but if you've got the library's attention, Matt,
Mhm.
you need to point that out, and that should really be kind of raised in terms of their priority.
I will definitely make them aware of that. I think that's the other side of you're talking about, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
It's the sort of secondary entrance, not the
Yeah.
original main entrance.
right. And what happens is that the water, I mean, it slopes right towards that entrance. We have a trench drain there now.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah. Well,
it's not going to do the job, but you're right. Yeah.
that's always been there, so
Not helping.
not helping. Badly installed posts or columns is more the point.
Yeah.
You're pointing out, giving them AZAC feet so they can withstand the water.
Well, aluminum feet would be better. That'll lift it up and allow air to get into that column. Um,
I agree with Phil's comment, or like, would they entertain that instead of having this so overdone front facade? It might be
I will
better.
bring that up. That's actually,
It would save them a
I
ton.
never
of
even
things
thought of
way
that. I
overdone.
was under the impression that,
I would think a visit to the Historical Society might get you an image pretty readily as well, or a call to John Borso.
I think that's a great idea, and bring it back to what it maybe was: a subtle, understated details. This thing's so much in your face, and there's so much going on. It should be a little more understated, a little more subtle, instead of so much columns and tablatures, and they're not even correctly in tablatures and things. It's kind of out of proportion and out of whack. It'd be great to save them a ton of money and just give them a simple, understated composition, like back in the 50s.
yeah.
Menor Lumber's not going to be pleased at that, but
I like the appearance. It's like a giant building that's small, and I've never seen 50s is pre-King, so I can't relate to that. I look forward to seeing a picture of the previous.
I think they might have that original facade.
Is the window to the right of the front entrance like more typical of the look? Just with a
yes.
stone band running over it?
Yeah.
Yeah, really simple. All brick. 4 windows.
I wonder what's, I know I've got a bunch of existing drawings. I'll give a look and I'll bring that up with them. They would, boy, if they could save money.
And I guess what I'm saying is, if they even did something like this part of it, not all this stuff here, and you kept it, you still do like a nice entablature, a nice crown, some nice columns, but just all this other extra stuff, and just keep it kind of subtle and understated.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's the way the building was originally, there you go.
If it's all coming off, if you could talk them into that,
Yeah.
talk them into that, and I would love to see it come off and just, okay, this is what we've got. You know, how can we address whatever issues that there's going to be brick damage, there's going to be all kinds of stuff that has to be addressed because you've now stripped off all that Michigas. So
no, that's an interesting process. Just to wonder. I mean, they're going to have to pull it off anyway if they wanted to replace it.
yes.
But to see what's there and see what we can do with that facade, and then compare it to what's left with the original facade. I like that idea. I'll, I mean,
I don't know about the rest of the board, but I would be in favor of, granting permission to do the demolition so that we could all take a look at.
Or I agree, because right, they've got to go there anyway. Anyway, we're looking at it, they're going there. So you could go ahead and open it up and see what you've got going on, get some images. Perhaps you want to add your own touch to it. We'd have to take a look at it.
yeah, to the comment before about providing details and the matching the existing, what we were proposing to do with the contractor was have a mock-up. I know it's really kind of water under the bridge now, to kind of address, I agree, to address those details and how they're going to, but the idea of removing it and seeing what's there, to me, is much more appealing.
Right?
So
Okay.
it's a form of revise and resubmit, although if we slide in a demolition, it's a little more than just the.
Or you could say, you could give approval. I mean, approval for replacement with the option of providing an alternate proposal after demolition. More consistent with the historic, or more consistent with the original design.
I don't like that because it leaves open the door to put this right back. And we're really suggesting that.
Well, I don't know how you can tell them they're not allowed to put it back if they want to.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But
So permission to demolish and resubmission of
Alternative design.
Yeah.
designs and details.
Okay. Yeah, they want to be good neighbors, so they listen to me, for better or for worse. So my guess is they'd be open to.
Well,
Hey, Matt, you might-
contentiousness, especially when we're headed towards less money. Often we're leading people towards more money and they kick about that.
Right.
I would move to approve demolition for the determination of feasibility, and that we would then see the plans that you would offer at that time.
Okay.
I would
Second.
redefine that demolition thing, because somebody's going to say, oh, they're going to demolish the library. So you might want to just
How do we
define,
just remove existing
Ornamental wood.
wood material, remove.
Yeah.
Let's do
Ornamental
that.
facade.
On the north
Facade.
facade, yeah. And no
Including doors
demolition.
and windows too, just so they know.
Matt, you might also
I'm sorry,
remind them,
yeah, what about the windows?
Exclude, they are not,
Oh, excluding them, okay.
yeah.
so who-
Second, I think that was Steve.
Steve made the motion, Wendy seconded it, okay. Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Okay. Matt, also remind them that, I did have a complaint from a citizen about the condition of the library facade and stuff.
Wait until he rips it all off.
Yeah,
That'll be front page news, yeah.
I did,
Oh,
I
absolutely.
did tell them that.
okay,
I definitely know, so,
yeah, so the neighborhood's watching, so,
okay. All right, thanks, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
612 North Street. Yeah.
Right, this is one of my projects.
Oh, okay. Prospectus did a study.
This is down a private, there's like 4 to 5 houses on a shared driveway. This is one of the furthest back houses. So it's a little trip to see it.
Yeah, there's several of those North Street driveways, multiple driveways. It's interesting back in there. Prospectus did not find that the property at 612 North Street had historical significance. And therefore, they concluded that it would, the changes would not have an adverse effect on that structure or any historical structures in the area. It's a straightforward report. I move to receive the report from Prospectus.
Second.
Motion by King, second by Naylor to accept prospectus report. Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Childs.
Yes.
George, is the neighbor, this house is pretty much in the other guy's front yard. He's been consulted about the ideas that are going on.
Well, I don't think what we're doing faces that neighbor that's kind of across the pond. That's a large newer house that's been built, I guess, 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was like,
I think they may have talked, but I'm not positive that.
Okay,
they
this
went
seems like it would be a good idea. When the trucks roll in, neighbors get excited. Go ahead, please.
Right. So we have a practical issues to solve with this house, and the primary one is that really there's kind of a one room combined kitchen. I don't know if we have we should have an existing plan there, but you kind of walk in this house into a one room combined kitchen. It's got a open stair down to the basement. There's a little powder room right there, and it's not very large for the kitchen. There's no mudroom function. There's no porch. There's no protection. It's really just a door on the front. The door's actually off center a little bit with the gable. And that's something that we're trying to address here and clean up a little bit. Yeah, actually, there's the existing front elevation. Here, if you go back to that quickly. So that's really the only way into the house. Your driveway's above the house. Behind the house is a pond. Really, the only way in is through that front door. There you go. The upper drawing shows kind of not quite symmetrical front gable end. So we're trying to more successfully deal with all those different functional issues, and then also kind of work and create a more symmetrical and hopefully pleasing front facade. We've added behind that front gable, added a kind of a wraparound shed dormer, filling in a kind of an alcove in the plan in order to give more kitchen area. And so if you want to go down a little bit to show there's the new front facade in that area. The windows are now symmetrical. The door is on center. We have kind of a timbered front open small stoop that I believe respects the concepts of the stucco and timber house. And then we're showing just to kind of differentiate it a little, kind of a lower stone and upper stucco addition, but you're still reading those three front facing gables, and we're using that addition to get more, an accommodating kitchen, but also separate an entry hall, an actual little mudroom, place to come into that house. It's not, plopping your shoes right into the kitchen. And that's the size of it.
Where's the garage? Is there a garage attached to the house?
The garage is up the hill. Yeah, I mean, it's a.
Oh, it's a detached garage?
Oh yeah, it's detached and it's 50, 60 feet away. Yeah, but you have a circle that's closer. So really, if you're parking there, you're parking at this circle. Yeah, you'd go to this. This is a preliminary. We wanted to, it's a front addition. So we wanted to show you the concept. I don't know if we have.
I don't think we have a real good
on that.
detail on the garage.
No, but it's, I guess it would show on that Google Maps site plan. Or one of those.
It's not a
Not very
rundown.
well, sorry. I mean, it's really out of the picture.
Right.
In terms of composition, it really reads like a very separate outbuilding.
Okay.
Quite a ways away.
So when you look at this, could you go back to that area, that initial existing elevation front? Well, you could keep it on this. This is fine. So this composition.
Wait a second, hold on.
Okay.
Oh, wait, maybe you can get the garage. Oh. Yep.
Is that what you're looking for, Bill?
Yeah, that's fine. So this composition is pretty doggone symmetrical. You have even hierarchy here. You have this nice reverse gable. You have a link here. You have a link here. And what I call these is a subordinate to the main part of this front facade. And you have these two bookends. So overall, it's a nice, simple composition. And I think you did a great job here, George, by lining this door up here, putting this gable, or I think that's excellent. And I know this is probably a struggle because the kitchen's there, and how do you get this kitchen within this space? My only concern is from a massing standpoint, this roof and this fill-in, and then with this stone, it seems like your eye's going right to that, and it's kind of losing the simplicity of it. So I would only say is maybe I'd get rid of the stone, and is there a way just to make this a flat roof so it almost disappears so you can still read this strong volume and still read these two bookends and the link, and this almost becomes kind of understated. So it really doesn't detract to the overall simplicity of the composition.
And I totally get that. We're actually trying to vault. They really wanted height in that kitchen, so we're vaulting under that lower gable, lower shed roof massing. So that the vaulting concept is running into the running into the I mean, I think we've created that as a subordinate. I don't know. I agree. It's not. It's obviously an off-center element, and I would definitely agree to. I mean, I think removing the stone. I think we're trying to differentiate it a little, and I'm okay with that. That aspect going away if you think it's too attention grabbing. So we're that's not a difficulty at all. But I'd love to preserve that roof line because I think it is pretty secondary, and I think it can blend in. I feel like the three gables are still primary. The two end gables are both kind of goofy additions, but they're important now, and at least they are balanced, you know.
Did you try looking at that, like just bringing that kitchen all the way out and putting a new larger gable over the whole thing? It wouldn't be symmetrical, but
No, you know, I didn't really look at that because I felt like that. I mean, I really wasn't sure if this house was historically significant or not. And I felt like that would change the character of the house. But yeah, no, I kind of like the scale of the gables now too. You know, the center one is bigger, but it's not overwhelmingly big. So I would be worried about it. Yeah. And it's balanced. I don't know if it's technically centered, but it's balanced in the composition. Then we're trying to open this kitchen up to great run.
Yeah, I really, I don't care for the shed. I know, I mean, you've done what I mean, you've tried to kind of make it less obvious, but I still think in real life, it's gonna be pretty, it's gonna really stick out like a sore thumb. I don't know how you push it back.
If I end up with a sloping roof but a flat eave, would that address your concern? So maybe I'm sloping back into the house, but that front eave line being straight, flat between the two gables, that's really what you guys are focusing on, right?
Yeah, that shed line,
Yep, the angled shed line.
yeah, it's really.
Well, I can go back and work on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking of.
Hey, George, is there a way you could try to compromise with them and say, hey, because most kitchens usually have a flat ceiling and they're not really tall, but is there any way you could say, hey, let's open up the great room and the family room and try to cathedral that to get I know a lot of people like one space in the house that has a height. Is there any way they could entertain that idea?
It's already vaulted, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the middle of the house is vaulted, and we're gonna work on the detail of that. So because it's not detailed beautifully, but it's a big space already.
I mean, it looks like a cozy house. And is there any way you could try to have them entertain the doing a nice kitchen ceiling? Maybe it's a little bit taller, but just some fenestration on the ceiling and just give it some character, and just as a thought instead of.
Yeah, I will kick around those options with them, and I'll as I said, I think if I can create a straight front eave, it's really not. Then I think you guys, I suspect you'll be satisfied. Your eye will be satisfied. Whether it goes back straight or maybe we go up, or I was even thinking, are we doing a little like side facing gable over the kitchen if we needed to vault that? I can play around more with what we are trying to do, but keep that front eave low so it's kind of lets the three gables be the only features.
Right, because I think this element's really competing with everything and making kind of like
a little wedge
all out. And if you could, yeah.
All right,
that's the challenge.
We'll play with that. I know, because it's right there. I mean, it's right there next to the.
Right.
But I am excited about the way that the front facing gable is looking now.
Yeah, no, it looks really good. Looks really good.
Very nice. I tend to like what I'm seeing for the most part. I'd like to see the straighten the eave you spoke of, but absolute symmetry is not necessary. I mean, it's not a rocket that's going to take off. I think you're close, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Is that thing sticking out the back a porch or something?
Yeah.
You're looking at the existing drawings?
What is that?
Yeah, the shed.
Yeah, I'm not actually, wait, I'm looking at that. We may not have drawn that totally accurately. It's really strange. It is actually a flat roof with a little teeny sloping roof edge condition to it. You can see it in a picture.
Yeah.
And we're not hitting it right now, but
yeah,
I mean, I think
it's
a
little mansard
there you go.
on the back there.
Teeny little mansard.
Yeah. Well, that was appropriate in the 60s, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean the room is nice. It's right on top of the lake. It's got good interior features, but it is not perfect outside. That's for sure.
So motion to revise and resubmit with attention to facade shed roof and removal of stone.
Thanks, yep.
Second,
Do you have the comments there, Joan?
Yes,
Okay. Motion by Naylor, second by King. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, a little signage at 13 Bell.
Looked good to me.
I had a question about the projection on this. Because it's not scaled in, I just want to make sure that that is, I'm having a little issue translating the scale of this when it's installed, because Mario, or I call it Mario, it's this little building. It is a smaller building, and the sign projects quite a bit over that sidewalk. Does anyone else have that concern?
Yeah, I was just curious, where exactly is it on the building? Did they show that? Like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
right
it's
over
up.
that arch.
oh,
Right here, Bill.
Oh,
okay.
it's over the
Oh, I
arch.
see.
Okay.
Okay,
Ah,
I got
it's
it.
up pretty high.
All right, so it's
I
high.
don't think it'll
Yeah.
be too big.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
And
I just
Wendy,
wanted to discuss that a little bit.
you can practice calling it Eddie's instead of Mario's.
Okay, I'll work on that.
How do you pronounce that? Or
Italian?
Italian, yeah. The
Italian.
chef's and owner's name is Eddie Tancredi, so that's where the ET comes
Oh,
in.
okay.
I see.
Okay,
Quite cute.
That was Dan Glavin from Glavin Science.
Yeah.
I just added Eddie as a panelist. I think he's the owner then?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, perfect. So he's on.
Does the owner have anything to say?
Hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you
Yes.
can. Just
Okay.
identify yourself for the record.
Yes, I'm Eddie Tancredi. I think what your question was addressing, it is higher, so it's actually it won't be interfering with the sidewalk.
Yeah. No, I
I'm
think,
excited to
it'll-
see that building come back to life. Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
Correct.
So
I
so
think it
nice to
has-
see progress.
At that height, I think it needs to be as big as it is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, otherwise
it
we'll
will
kind
not
of
appear too
lost.
big.
Yeah, it's also there's the bollards in front of the building too that kind of poke everything out, so I don't expect it to stick out any farther than that anyways, which isn't really on the
Oh,
sidewalk.
okay.
I think the only other thing to note that was kind of difficult to show in the drawings is the bracket will be solid black. We wanted to show the detail in the bracket, so we just outlined it in black, but it will be painted all black, it powder coated black. So
Okay. Eddie, you have thousands of people listening. What will your fare be when you open up?
So we are going to be doing, I think there's a few people that have had some words what's going on, but we will be doing a pizzeria, a true Naples style pizzeria.
Ah,
Oh, neat.
that's great.
So we're everything's coming along. The health board and the state approved all of our plans, so we're really able to dig into the final steps right now.
you have a target
It'll
date.
be- It'll be wonderful to see this building come back to life.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Agree.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, we're really excited as well. I love the location. I mean, I'm originally from Solon. I still live in Solon now, so it's just going to be good to kind of be back in the area where I'm from. So
Right.
Good. Welcome. Look forward to it.
excellent.
Eddie, could I get the spelling of your last name, please?
Yeah, it's TANCREDI.
C-R-E-D-I?
Correct.
C-R-E-D-I?
It's I'm not sure if I said it right. So it's TANCREDI.
D-I or D-E-I?
T is in Tom, A is in Andrew, N is in Nancy, C is in cat,
Yep.
R is in radio, E is in Eddie, D is in dog, I is in igloo.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You need to vote?
In here, I'm lost. Do we? have
We
a
need to
motion?
vote.
Need
Yeah,
a motion.
Need a motion. I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the soft opening.
Excellent. Me too.
230 Falls Walkway, new dwelling final, hopefully.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning, Rick.
And
Rick.
So you guys have seen this before. If I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, this is the last house in Falls Walk to be constructed. Last time it was approved as noted with the focus being on that dormer that's up in the roof there. We had a gable there previously and we agreed to take a look at it as a shed. Again, which we had done once and kind of discarded, but we went back to it and decided it was in fact a better look for the front of the house. So we did make that revision. The garage doors is more of a carriage style. I think we talked about that too. And I think that's pretty much it. So we're here looking for final approval. Oh, there was an issue with a garden wall in the back that has been removed from the plans and will be addressed during landscaping presentation. So it's not part of your approval, the patio or the wall around it. Or at least the wall.
Is that front door, is that final offer front door or just a CAD/CAM type of door?
No, I mean, we want to do something like that with a board look. It kind of fits the neighborhood and the style of the house. You know, it's not a ton of glass, but it lets some light in, but still gives you a little privacy.
Mission.
These houses are pretty close to the street, so you know we don't want all glass everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it, I kind of like how, you know, the front door and the garage doors are reflecting each other's general configuration. I like how I like the new look on the garage. I think it's softens things up.
Right, you're refreshing my memory there. We had like I think we had a triangular vent up there. We put the two louvered vents rectangular in to match each other.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have any further comments.
Yeah, I'm fine too.
We'll do
Last house in the neighborhood, right?
second.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, we got a motion. And a second. Motion by King, second by Naylor. King,
Yes.
Childs,
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Thanks, Rick. Hey, Rick, does that tree grow, drop any coconuts behind you there or what? What's the deal?
No, not yet. Well, that's just my virtual, that's where my head wants to be. Unfortunately, I'm sitting at my desk in Sugar and Falls.
Okay.
So, all right, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Rick.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. Best of luck with your new house.
Thanks. Mm.
We're back for our 10th submittal on the front porch for Main Street.
I was looking at this house and realizing it's a very simple, small house. And I think they started to tinker with the house and maybe we're trying to rebuild the house. And where in the middle should we go? Front porches should be porches, not decks. Yeah, but the time and space and available is very limited. It's a small house, not to be confused with Monticello. And I'm looking forward to your changes, Becky. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate it. Like you said, it's a small, you know, house with large, poorly detailed FIPON, trim. This thing has evolved. I think they're doing an exceptional, improvement to it. I think we did get caught up in the details of trying to create a classical composition, and I respect your, comments, Bill, but, at the end of the day, we're trying to do a nice, simple, clean front porch. And this is what we're presenting. It's asymmetrical. It's harder than it appears. It's an asymmetrical existing
And-
composition. It's more like a 3/4 cape. And, we went back and studied, and I think, George, you mentioned making the columns a little bit bigger. We did that. We did study adding 2 columns per, Bill's recommendation. But I felt as if one, from the homeowner standpoint, they don't want to look at a bunch of columns. You're going to sit on one side or the other. But more importantly, I think from my standpoint, it just really highlights that left window being in a somewhat awkward spot. So it's almost like we're forcing it to be very symmetrical, and it's not. And I've moved and pushed and pulled everything that I possibly can with the homeowners to try to, make you guys excited about this improvement. And this is sort of our final outcome.
I think it looks good. And I only have 2 material comments. One supporting, I think the porch flooring, as long as it's tongue and groove, I think that really is consistent with Chagrin, because we see that everywhere. But then in terms of metal roof, I'm comfortable with it down below. I'm wondering, because it looked like you had a note saying the metal roof was on the dormers too. I feel like the dormers would be more comfortable with asphalt up there, just coming off the asphalt. They wouldn't. I mean, there's not a lot of roof up there. It looks like that. I mean, I feel like that might be more calm if it's asphalt up there. Those are my only comments on this.
So you're saying metal roof on the porch, but not the dormer?
Right, not the 2 little dormers up high.
I'd be comfortable with no metal roof at all. So
Me too. I just this doesn't get along with this house.
I mean, if they want to spend the money, I don't care. But
Well,
it seems like it would.
Yeah, from just as a reminder from previous 3 or 4 meetings ago, the metal roof is on there intentionally for Mrs. Sarah Gooding, who has Alzheimer's, who really actually is soothed by the sound of that rain on the metal roof. So for whatever that's worth.
do they have a metal roof?
There is rationale for it. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, it's
Not
God's
crazy at
honest
all.
truth.
Do they have a metal roof now?
No, they have no roof now. I mean, there's no porch.
We're speculating.
What color metal roof? What finish is it?
Dark.
Like a dark brown, blackish.
Black, yeah.
Board members, I will remind you, we don't regulate roofing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm comfortable with that as a look down below. I don't think I think it accents something that is different with a different material.
Yeah.
That's where I'm okay with it.
I think Gary Gooding may be on. I mean, he can say how important that is, but if to him to have that metal, I can go either way. I agree, George. It could be asphalt and just as successful. I think it could be metal and, kind of tie in the quote unquote jewelry.
Seems lovely to me. Hi, Gary. Jerry, is it?
It's Gary Gooding.
Gary?
You have to turn your volume on if you want to
Or unmute.
say how important the dormer metal roof is.
Sorry for the difficulty. The
there
hardest
you
part
go.
of the
There
day
you
is
are.
just
We see you
getting
now.
on here.
We can hear you.
Good. Well, thank you for considering again. As far as the dormer is concerned, that's a low priority. They're not actual structural dormers, so I have no problem with that. I'm not going to be able to see them except for walking up the street. Neither my wife or I drive, so we look at our house every day, much more than many people do who drive into their garages or drive past them. But no, that's not a high priority. I think the porch design that Becky put together, and we worked a lot with this because of the asymmetry as she talked about. You know, we moved back home from California. We moved to be in a place that we felt at home, and we want to make this home part of the neighborhood. And I know you've seen all the pictures. We're surrounded by some pretty significant Victorian, I would call them Victorian, I'm not an architect, but certainly on either side. And we kind of feel like we're dragging down the neighborhood, that we're not a key element of the neighborhood. And this would, at least from all the neighbors we've talked to, would just enhance the neighborhood. And frankly, the thought of my wife spending the time that she has where she's still cogent to sit out on a porch like this, if it's raining or if it's sunny, that would be a dream come true for her and for me. We love porches. We didn't have that option in California. They're not a big porch state. And so I probably said more than I need to say, but the dormer part of it is of no consequence to me. I'm perfectly comfortable making that an asphalt feature.
Thank you.
Well, we have a strong tradition of porches in Chagrin Falls, so welcome back. I think that that's a good compromise to remove the metal roof material from the dormers. And it may not be our first choice in the material for the porch, but I think it's an acceptable choice. I was doing some work last week on other houses in Chagrin Falls and came across some of houses similar to this, historic images. Minimal traditional is really what we're talking here. And interestingly enough, there were porches that were on some of this very similar style house. So, and I also support, George was mentioning, yes, indeed, a lot of the decking material is predominantly tongue and groove decking through Chagrin Falls. So I support this design with just the minor alteration of putting asphalt shingle on the dormer roof. Are we ready for a motion?
I think so.
I think so.
Okay. I move to approve the design as presented with the change from metal to shingle, asphalt shingle roof at the dormer.
A second.
Motion by Naylor, seconded by King. Childs,
Abstain.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Enjoy your porch.
Thanks.
Thank you. We will.
That concludes the agenda for this morning. I don't know if you have any walk-ins. Katie, do you know if anybody's raised their hand?
Hi, sorry. No, I don't think so, but if anybody wants to say anything,
Too late.
speak now or forever hold your peace.
Going.
Done.
All right.
No,
Thank you.
I had one I had
Oh,
one
yeah.
comment on that porch we just had. I don't know if anyone recognized this, but when you typically study a house that are all next to each other, you do what's called streetscape, and you look at all the facades. When I took your advice, Steve. I went up there and I took a look at that. with that porch in front there, that house is the furthest house towards the street, if I'm not mistaken, along that whole street.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I mean, if you're not careful, if someone loses control, they're going to be on your front porch. So I was surprised that planning and zoning approved that, because usually you want to keep all the facades fairly accurately in line for the most part. So I was surprised on that.
I think it falls into the cheating a little bit category. I mentioned to Wendy, although I didn't have the gumption to say it on a meeting, that if you want to hear the rain on the roof, you could get a Weber grill and put it in your front yard.
Yeah, that's true.
Always the practical one. That's
There we go.
There you go.
Way to bite your tongue.
Couple of bucks less. This meeting is adjourned.
See you, bye.
Good job on not saying that. See you
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, George. It happens once in a while.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody.
all. Have a good
Thanks.
day.
Thanks.
Thanks, Katie.
Have a great week.
Yeah,
You too.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.